that shit.
Welcome to Trash Talk MMA.
Smile on my face, behind my back, and talk trash.
The #1 podcast for news and insight that matters in the world of mixed martial arts.
I don't want to hear it.
Brought to you live and unfiltered from all four corners of the globe
That's what you said.
by MMA aficionado Antoine Pelche.
Yo, and welcome to the Trash Talk MMA podcast. I'm your host, Antoine Pelche, and today I have a very special guest on the show, current UFC competitor in the lightweight division, Nick Hein from Germany. Nick, how you doing, buddy?
I am fine. I want to apologize. I came late for our appointment, but finally I'm here, and I am enjoying it already.
No apologies necessary, brother. I know everybody's busy out here, and you've got a lot on your plate. I know you're a very multifaceted individual.
Yes, thank you.
So why don't we start off with the good news? You are officially a Tiger Muay Thai sponsored fighter.
That is absolutely right, sir. I came here like almost 2 months ago. I came here like with a purpose. I wanted to find a new camp because like I had 2 fights in the UFC till now, and I changed camp twice. I wasn't satisfied with the conditions I found there in Germany, so I knew I need to change something. And there were like a lot of fighters and people close to me that told me like, you have to go to Thailand. And usually, you know, when you think of Thailand, you think of Thai boxing. You know,
Yep.
like the MMA part, you know, wasn't that known for me till now. I came here, I had a lot of expectations, and they were fulfilled, and I'm really happy. I'm so glad I came here. I'm so glad with the training partners, with the coaches, with everything, and yeah, it's happening.
So it sounds like this is almost for you a kind of a fresh new start to an already pretty deep career.
It absolutely is. I'm really a little bit excited also for this interview because, you know, there's some things that you probably don't know till now because but I don't want to like go too further in the interview yet because I came here. I quit my job actually as a policeman, which we probably didn't announce yet that I was a policeman, but it's there's a lot of stuff that was going on, and so we should start at the beginning probably.
Is the beginning for you? Do you want to talk about how you started in martial arts, or do you want to talk about these? You've been a policeman, you've been an actor, you've got a really fascinating story. Where's the best place to start to tell your story, Nick?
Where's the best place? That's a good question. Well, let's start with the MMA. How I got into MMA. Well, I used to be a judo player in the judo national squad for 10 years. I started judo when I was 6, and then after 10 years I was like part of the national squad. I was how you say that in the Olympic team, but I wasn't like the first guy. I was in the election for the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then there was also the time I like after school and university, like I went to the police force. You have to have like as an amateur fighter, you have to have like a job, of course, that provides your living. And I was at the federal police and also like an Olympic. How do you say that?
I know what you mean. What's the exact word? Like you weren't an Olympic qualifier?
Yeah, something like this, exactly. So it all happened around 2004. So for 4 years I was trying to get into the Olympic
it seems
team.
like that was a real...
Yeah.
That was an objective.
Alternative is the word. Olympic alternative.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so you're an Olympic alternative. Yeah.
So and I was in the federal police, and like in 2008 I was really close, but then I broke my leg during a training session after a training camp in Russia.
In judo?
In judo, yeah. I broke it but I broke it at home, and I remember this year I was in Japan with my wife. My wife is Japanese.
Yep.
And I didn't, because I was so disappointed not being able to compete in the Olympics. I didn't want to see any of the television program. Like, I tried to avoid television in Japan, and the thing is, it was in China, which is like almost the same time zone like Japan, which means like when I woke up from morning to night, there was Olympic Games everywhere. It was on the radio, it was in the city, in every television, everywhere, and everyone was talking about it. So I tried to avoid it as good as I could. And I remember I was on my crutches, you know, all the day, like with my crutches, walking through Tokyo. And as we came home, my wife and I, after a long day of not being at home where the television is, I was totally exhausted all the day on the crutches. I fell on the couch. I switched on the TV, and the first thing, it's really true, the first thing I saw was the guy that went in my weight category from Germany winning the Olympic Games right now. It's really true. I tried to avoid it. I came home, I switched on the TV.
Just to watch the news or something, right?
Just to watch anything and I see really right now, it was live broadcast. It was Ole Bischof winning the Olympic Games. And for me, it was like, this was like a bitch slap from destiny in my face. It was like, why? And I mean, of course, it was good for him, and he's a good guy, you know, he deserved the win. But for me, it was like a dream collapse, and also like being like rubbed in my face, like that I didn't go there. So I think that day and that year, the flame for judo just vanished, and I must go back again. In the year 2000, I got one of those VHS of UFC 1.
Yep.
And when I saw this, like, this is probably the story like most of the guys say. When I saw this, I was shocked at the beginning that something like this exists, but at the same time I was thinking, I think I could do that. And you know, this...
So, because in 2000, because you're 30 now, correct?
Yes. I was 16, 15, 16 years.
Yep.
And this seed, you know, was planted in my brain and grew like every day. And I was thinking of that every day more and more. And I started to do boxing a little bit. So 2008 was actually the year where the passion for judo went down and for MMA overtook the judo passion. And I remember after this year, after also the recovery of my leg injury, I directly tried to find an MMA club.
Okay.
I called there. I remember the coach was like, he didn't know who I was, that I had some experience. I said, my name is Nick Hein. I'm, how old was I? 25, I think. I'm 25 years old and I want to do MMA and I want to fight as soon as possible. And he was like, hold on, wait a minute, you know. And yeah.
So, I mean, okay, so you're saying you did this around when you were 20? That's I mean, so you saw the UFC when you were 16. That already planted the seed for you getting into MMA.
10 years later.
I mean, let's talk about what's the MMA scene in Cologne 15 years ago?
Nothing.
Nothing, right?
Nothing.
So, who'd you turn to? Where'd you go?
I did it like in 2000 and I started in 2009. So there was some time to develop in Cologne. During the time I saw the video, there was nothing. So, you know, the only thing I did was like I bought some boxing gloves. There was like a place next to my house where we could train. It was actually a youth center, something where
like
they
a YMCA type thing.
Yeah, exactly. And we went down in the basement and like tried to do
balls.
it, you know. And I this is the first and only time I really got knocked out, I remember, because I didn't know anything about punching, and but nevertheless, there wasn't really a professional training. So what I did was like just grow this idea in my mind, go on with judo, I went to boxing clubs here and there and tried to develop my striking, which I like, but I didn't really train anything. And then in 2009, it all started. Like after there were clubs, and I started in one in Cologne, and I had my first fight like 3 or 4 months after and that was also funny. I because I was invited for a judo training camp for the World Championships, and but of course, you know, I wasn't the one who was the first guy. The Olympic champion was, So I was just like invited as a training partner. So for me, but there was also like on the same date there was like a fight. Like my first fight, my debut could be on this weekend. So I told the national coach that I have to go to marriage because I'm the best man on the marriage, and I chose a location far away, of course, that I have a lot of time. I said that it's in Italy, and I have to go there. I'm the best man, and but actually, of course, I wasn't. I was going to this fight. I won this fight, and
you came back from the wedding with a black eye.
And I wasn't there. I had a black eye, but I remember I called the coach after the fight, and I said, yeah, so I'm going to be there tomorrow evening. He said, no, you're going to be there tomorrow morning and at 10 o'clock at the first training. And I was like, damn it, it was like a 6 hours ride, so I partied till 3 o'clock, and then I thought, yeah, from 3 to 9, it's like 6 hours, I can make it. So I after the party, I directly went to the first training, which is, it's like this, and I came through with it.
Excellent. So when did you take your first pro fight, and under what gym were you affiliated with?
That was actually my first fight was a pro fight.
Okay.
And
okay, so that first fight wasn't an amateur fight; that was a pro fight.
No, it was a pro fight, and it was the name of the club was Combat Club, but I changed many times my clubs because I was used to high standard of judo, to the high standard training, like national squad training, and for me it was like when I found out like that professional fights, don't necessarily mean you are training in professional clubs. I always try to find the best level of training for me, and which this eventually meant that I had to change club many times. I tried to find the best for me, but yet my search just ended 2 months ago, and I'm already 6 years into MMA.
Well, that's good. I mean, this must be a huge relief for you because I mean, the camp hopping, changing. I mean, on one end, it's great. You're getting a variety of training partners, a variety of different people. But everybody who I'm talking to out here, they love the quality of the training at Tiger Muay Thai. They love the consistent people that are there all year round, and they love the steady flow of constant new talent coming in and out.
Yes, and
so for you, I mean, that's just a breakthrough, right?
It is, and if I tell you my story about my MMA, my 2 MMA fights in the UFC, you wouldn't believe it. For example, my first was the debut last year in Berlin also, and 2 days before my fight, my team, which so-called team, left me because they weren't satisfied with the hotel.
Wow.
They
You're
left
getting
me.
the opportunity of a lifetime.
I'm getting the opportunity of a
most.
lifetime. You must imagine I was sitting at the press training because I was the German fighter that was supposed like to be the last on the pre-card.
Yeah, on the prelims.
Prelims.
Yep.
So because it was my debut, they were expecting a lot. There was a lot of, I did good media work till that day. So they invited me for the press training, which is actually just for the main card fighters.
For like the open workouts.
The open workouts, which was Musashi and Mark Munoz.
Yep.
And there was, I think it was Owen Sampreux.
Yep.
He was sitting there with, you must imagine, I'm sitting in the dressing room. There's OSP sitting next to GSP. He was there. He visited him. So GSP is sitting there.
The 2 SPs.
Yes, they were sitting on my right. On my opposite, there was sitting Mark Munoz with his team. All the big guys. And I'm waiting for my team to arrive, like to hold mid, like for the, and they came.
and they just solo.
And they said, actually they were just, I think all the development till the fight, because there was a huge media attention, that was just too much for all of them. And all the work you had to put in, they were already stressed out. And they probably expected something else. They were thinking when you come to the UFC, everyone becomes a millionaire instantly. I don't know what they expected, but they weren't satisfied with the hotel, so they left. They came there, my coach was there, and he was like, I saw the desperation in his face, and it seemed to me like he wanted just to get out. He said, we're leaving, and I was like, you must be kidding me.
So, did you have a corner for the fight? I mean,
I went in with my best friend, and a coach I got to know 3 weeks before, and my first opponent of like, it wasn't like an MMA fight, but it was like a kind of MMA fight. Actually was my first training sparring guy. Yes.
Okay.
And these were
so in your corner for your UFC debut, you had your first sparring partner.
Yes,
and your best friend.
And my best friend, yeah.
And you won the fight.
I won the fight. It was
versus Drew Dober, correct?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
By the way, Drew Dober married my sister this night, from yesterday to today.
What?
This podcast is getting more and more.
Wait a second.
No,
Drew Dober just married your sister?
Yeah, I think it's like it was today because of the time difference. They got to know each other after my.
Well, that's a piece of MMA trivia. You've got to be the first guy who has an opponent that's married a family member in the history of the sport.
Within a year, yes.
That's hilarious. Now walk us through that fight. So you go in there, you're ditched by your camp.
I'm ditched by my camp.
It's a UFC debut.
And my wife was really desperate. She was with me that time. She was a little bit crying because she thought everything's going down. The UFC press worker from Germany, Susan Brandes, she was absolutely desperate because everyone expected so much of this debut, you know. Everyone expected that this fight and this event coming back to Berlin, you know, could change maybe something in Berlin. And if the so-called clean man like Nick, the sergeant, you know, the police officer, the actor, if he loses the first fight, you know, all the excitement.
Yeah, you break the momentum, you know.
Yes.
It's just a lot of build-up, a lot of momentum, a lot of anticipation, and it was on you to follow through with it.
And I could see the desperation in everyone's face, and I remember I was also a little desperate at the beginning, but then I thought, you know, nobody's going to take this away from me. This is something I worked for all my life, and this is not just the empty saying. I was really, and you know, I'm a huge believer in God, and believe me or not, he was my team actually. I got a really huge self-confidence like a day after this happened, and believe it or not, it was this. You know, when sometimes crazy things happen, you're like, okay, now we are going to do it by all means. Like,
do whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Now we came that far. This is getting. It was like a Hollywood story, you know. You see Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone, and there's of course this personal drama just right before his most important fight. He just lost, and then they want to take his son away, and he's like, you know, the drama, and it was like the same. And I like those kind of movies, and I thought I can do my own movie now, and it worked out. It was, I mean, of course, not everyone knows that, but it was really some personal background drama, and I felt like I can do this because I trained so hard, and I don't know if you saw the fight.
I did. I watch every UFC.
Yeah, okay, and the fight was just so cool, you know. I was like,
and Dober's a good opponent.
He is good. He bet Jamie Varner in the first round the next fight, and
I'm a huge Jamie Varner fan.
Yeah, and he was, and he has some momentum right now. Also,
he just got totally screwed in his last fight.
He just got totally robbed in Brazil, which is, you know,
the worst stoppage in the history of the sport.
The worst stoppage in history in the sport. So he's going to shake that off because, you know, he got his win bonus spoken by Dana White. Everyone knows that this is a robbery. The referee trained with the guy, Leandro Silva, something, you know,
Santos, Santos.
Or whatever. Yeah, he's so, you know, he's going to shake it off, and he's going to win more fights.
I mean, how would you take that? I mean, okay, this guy's actually part of your family now.
Yes.
And I mean, that must be one of the most deflating things that can happen. You travel all the way to Brazil.
Yeah.
You've got a highly anticipated fight. You're coming off a vicious win over, I consider Jamie Varner almost a legend.
Yeah.
And you're riding all that momentum. I'm sure for every MMA fighter or a UFC fighter to fight in Brazil is a dream come true. Mm-hmm. And the fight just gets stopped for nothing. You know,
yeah,
I
don't want to lay. We have a saying like in Germany, don't lay too much outside of the window because you are going to fall down. So I don't want to lay too much outside the window. But there's a lot of people saying, you know, that this is fixed. You know, like Bet Mafia or something. People are putting money on that. I don't know about that. I don't want to say it's like this, but it seems kind of strange when somebody. Actually, at first it seems strange that this guy was able to judge this fight.
What's crazy is he even reffed a fight after on the same card. They brought him back out for more fights. I was like, are you kidding me? Like,
I mean, I know the UFC is not going to let that happen again. The UFC is a great promotion, and they are learning. And you know, if there's some people, when they try to do bad with the company, you know, they will get screwed. I think this ref, whatever what was his intention, like to judge the fight like he did, he's not going to be able to do that again.
Right after the fight, you know, they went to the kind of the newscast with Brian Stan and Dominic Cruz, and Dominic Cruz made a really good point. You know, why isn't instant replay available in MMA? You know, it's available in virtually every single other sport.
I think
what
problem,
are your thoughts on if is instant replay an option in MMA? And you know, I mean, it's a fight where, you know, it's a matter of inches and seconds.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, in this case, in this specific case, you know, this instant replay would probably be a good solution. But I also think instant replay can cause some additional pressure on the referees, because, you know, this ref is probably a black sheep. There's not. I mean, I know some of the refs from the UFC, and I think they're doing awesome jobs. You know, they are the ones who carry a lot of responsibility.
Certainly do.
As soon as you put like an instant replay on them, it's like you put judges on the judge, and this is going to, because, you know, these judges have to decide to their best opportunities. And when you put instant replay in it, you know, this makes a judge unnecessary from then on, because you're going to have like maybe 5 or 6 camera guys, you know, capturing everything, and there's like a court of people, a group of people that's going to, because they did that in judo also, and usually it made everything more complicated and worse, because there's like 2 people saying they refer to the instant replay. They say, I see it like this. I see it. Other people say, I see it like this. It's just.
But I mean, this is super damaging for Dober's record. I mean, you've got to sympathize with the guy. If instant replay is not an option, what if this happened to you? What would you want to see the outcome happen? This could happen to anybody.
Yes, but I think it was obvious to everyone during the fight, and even after that, what happened is not right. So what is going to happen now? Everyone knows that Drew kind of got robbed by the ref, and I think the result is going to be changed anyways to a no contest.
I've heard they're not going to change it. I've heard he's not even I read something this morning, don't quote me on it, but I think he's not even really getting the right to appeal, that the decision has been made, that it will stand.
Nevertheless, I think that he's going to get, how you say that?
Should he get a rematch? Should he get
yes, I think he's.
I mean, it should be overturned to a no contest, as far as I'm concerned, and he should get a rematch.
Yes, I think
he should not be in Brazil.
Yes,
the other dude should go to his hometown.
I totally, or in Germany.
Or in Germany.
In Berlin, maybe.
Yep.
He's going to have a home crowd there too.
Yep.
So
yep.
I believe it's going to be like this anyway.
Yep.
And I think, you know, it's just a matter of how somebody that is capable of making a decision like this is going to react to this. I mean, that Dana gives him the win bonus is like, what really counts is everyone knows that he didn't lose this fight, and everyone that also is going to be responsible for his future knows.
Yeah. Of course. But, you know, records are fighters always. So it's funny because I bring in a lot of guys here to interview, and a lot of them talk about how, you know, SureDog is inaccurately reporting their record, that there's, you know, for example, there's an amateur fight that they're considering a pro fight, so it shouldn't be in their pro record, this and that. It's something that's close to the heart of a fighter. At a glance, that's how anybody can see your wins and losses. It's important, you know.
Somehow it is, but we are not in pro boxing, which I really love to bring up, because pro boxing, you know, you get the feeling every channel, every promotion has its own world champion.
Yeah.
And in MMA, you know, you got guys like, for example, now please help me with the new lightweight champion, Dos Anjos.
Oh, Rafael Dos Anjos.
Yes.
Yep.
He has a record in the UFC. He lost to several guys, you know.
He lost to Clay Guida, lost to Jeremy Stevens with that hellacious uppercut.
Yes,
but he had some rough losses, man.
But nevertheless, you know, that doesn't mean anything in MMA. If you have a good winning streak, if you take your chance at the right time, you can be the next lightweight champion, for example.
Yeah,
like
I think his path in the UFC, how he's improved since his losses, is really inspirational.
Yes.
You know, because nobody really pegged him as that guy because of the losses that he took. You know, he had his jaw broken by Clay Guida. He went 0-2 and then 4-4 and then became the champ in the UFC. It's pretty dope.
Yes.
I was just blown away by his performance against Pettis. I thought it was almost on the level of like TJ Dillashaw's performance against Renan Barão.
Yes.
You know, okay, he didn't get the stoppage, but I mean, he put one hell of a beating on a fantastic champion, Anthony Pettis.
And that is something that defines MMA. It's like you don't need to have like a perfect show record or anything. You know, anything is possible at any time. Anything possible at any time.
Yeah.
And this is why I love the sport also.
So before we started recording, we touched on the topic of confidence. You were mentioning that somebody came to ask you, I don't know in what context, of where you get your confidence from, and you've had other careers as a federal police officer in Germany and as an actor.
Yes.
How did you get into being a federal policeman, and what has that done for you in terms of being a fighter?
I mean, as I try to explain to the people, when you think of judo in Germany, it's an amateur sport. You need to have nevertheless, you're not doing that for the money, because you don't get any. So you need to make a living. And for me, I always wanted to be a police officer, and I had that. Like when you ask me, like in preschool, I wanted to be a police officer. I thought it was cool,
So when the teacher asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up, you said, I want to be a cop.
I want to be a cop. I thought it was the same like in in the movies, you have good suits, you kick in doors, stop it, it's police, some guy jumps out of the window, you follow him in your Maserati, because cool cops always have like cool cars, and you get a lot of attention of the media, then you get back to the office, then your boss is like really shouting, what did you do? You destroyed the whole city. I got the mayor on the phone. He's trying what? And I'm like, oh, what is it? You want me to quit? And then that is what I expected.
Yeah,
like a police job to be.
You were fantasizing the whole thing.
I need to come true with true with how it is. It's not like that.
Yeah.
There's way more writing and less shooting, you don't...
A lot more documentation than...
Exactly,
than bullets flying.
Actually, most of the time I was just asked for directions. But, nevertheless, it's a job I love to do, I love to represent, like, the police force. And, so during my judo career with after school, like, with 19, I chose to become a federal police sergeant, and
so that's where your nickname comes from.
Exactly.
Nick, is it Nick Sergeant Hein, or is Nick the Sergeant Hein?
It's actually Sergeant Nick Hein.
Sergeant Nick Hein.
It's
okay.
The nickname.
How does Bruce Buffer say it?
Yes,
Sergeant Nick Hein.
And I like that, and What did I learn out of police?
Are you still an active police fighter now?
Yeah, as I already now said at the beginning of the interview, I just quit my job. How did that come? After all the media attention and all the attention towards my person in Germany, I think we found out that being in media attention and being a police sergeant in a federal police, it's hard to to coordinate both. And
Yeah.
additionally, you know, as I told you, there's a TV ban there was a TV ban in Germany, which made many officials think that MMA is not a real sport. And many of the officials of the federal police thought that too. And although I have a huge fan base in Germany at the police forces, the officials,
there's some political perception issues there.
exactly.
Yeah.
And they, after 11 years of police service, they came to me and said, "You have to decide
Really?
your job."
Oh, really? So they made you pick between the two, eh?
Yes, and I wanted to be a UFC fighter like all my life, and I know I have like that the police service, you know, provides me safety for my family and me, like for all of my life, because you get this there's like a status, like you get a police officer for life. When you get announced that,
Okay.
anything can happen, they will provide everything for you and your family for the rest of your life.
So you have that almost, I guess, is that like financial security?
Yes, it is a financial security.
So, and even though you're no longer an active policeman, they'll still provide you that?
No.
Oh, they won't?
No, of course, no. I had to decide.
It's almost like a military pension then if you stay
Yes,
in with them. Okay.
I decided not to go for the safety, but for my dream. And
Good for you, man. I
Yes.
respect that. I respect that.
So I was smiling when we were talking before we recorded about people that just
that
go for it,
Take risks.
take risks,
A
and
sense of adventure.
so I thought after this trouble in my first and also second fight, I had something almost similar to the first fight in my second UFC fight, like this drama. I thought, if I am going to risk the financial security of my family and my own for my sport, then I want to do it as professional as I can. And if that means I need to change country, I need to change camp on another continent, then so be it. So
So are you living here in Phuket now?
I'm not living here yet, but I just came here just to see if that is right for me. But as I like it and not like it, if I know that this is going to be the place, I'm going to come. I need to go back to Germany now. I need to settle some stuff, and at first I'm going to go back like in a few weeks to do my fight preparation for my next fight here, and but thoughts came up, of course. If you want to train here, it would make sense to live
Obviously.
here, right?
Yep. You know,
Yes.
just step across the street right into the camp, train every day like a
Absolutely,
madman.
yes.
Now you have another career. You're an actor on a TV show.
Yes.
I have the name in front of me. Diese Kaminskis. How do you pronounce that?
Diese Kaminskis.
Diese Kaminskis.
Diese Kaminskis,
And
yes.
it's about 3 incompetent brothers running a funeral parlor, is what I read on the
That
line.
is absolutely right, and I'm the youngest and dumbest.
Is this show currently running?
Yes, it was just the first season just finished,
Okay.
and it was a huge success.
Really? So it's a popular show.
The thing is, it's not airing on a big channel yet, so it was more like a how you say that, like a secret tip. Yeah, like.
Okay.
But it reached a lot of people, more than anyone would have expected, because
So it
it's
exceeded
running.
expectations in terms of the amount of viewership.
Absolutely, and it was
Okay.
announced. I know it was even nominated for one of the biggest German TV prizes with the really big shows,
Excellent.
which was like a honor, like being announced a night of acting, maybe, if
Okay.
you want to say
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And it became so huge that people really got to know me because of the show and not being a fighter.
Has the show been renewed for another season?
They are right now how you say that, bargaining about
Negotiating.
negotiating
Yep.
yeah, about everything, but there's going to be a second season.
So obviously you'll want to remain on that.
I mean, I got some, and that is really, I need to laugh when I say that, but I got some really good critics, like as being an actor. although I never attended acting school, and I'm the only one that is not an actor on the show.
Okay.
And that is something that honors me and gives me also some motivation to do that.
Well, and what a great way for you to be in the public eye. A lot, you know, in a totally different capacity as a professional athlete. I mean, you've obviously got some clout in your country from your judo credentials and pedigree. I mean, now you're probably a legend because you're in the UFC. It doesn't get any bigger and badder than that. You're a TV star, a federal cop. I mean, you must be something of a hero over there.
Yeah, it's not that it's not that big yet, but I think there's some potential, like especially for the sport. Like I mean, the UFC is still, or the MMA is still, as the TV ban is over, it's not broadcasted yet. They don't have a TV partner yet, but right now there's like the time where everything can change and UFC can become really big in Germany. So I'm not that well known yet because of my fighting, but I think now as with all the background, this could really change, and it's already like working bit by bit, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got a lot of interesting pieces going on in your career, a lot of changes. I mean, okay, you stop being a cop, you've got this acting thing, you're in the UFC, you've got Tiger Muay Thai, you're ready to do whatever it takes.
Yes.
It looks like you're well placed inside the machine here to have a pretty big year.
Yes, if it's God's will, then it could go like this, and I'm really. I always, you know, when you listen to the podcast, you won't see it, but all the time I have a big smirk on my face.
Yeah, you look like a happy camper.
Yes, and I'm like a kid, like thrown in this big amusement park of things that are happening right now, and I'm like at the same time as I'm doing and working for all this stuff, I'm at the same time like astonished and like, is this really happening? Because you must imagine that also the show aired at the same year I had my debut in the UFC, and that were two totally different.
Yeah, people must have been doing double takes. Like, wait, I saw this guy in a fight, and he's on a TV show in a funeral parlor. Like,
there was
they must have been like, how do we connect the pieces here?
There was a huge cross promotion for both, which the UFC also could like benefit from, because you know the people that weren't really into fighting, but liked the show very much. They were like, wait, he's a fighter. I saw like a newspaper like where he was like in this cage, you know, isn't this no rules fighting? And they started to get interested in the sport because they were like, how is it? Is it like a joke? Or is it like, they were like, really, what is going on here? And that really attracted people.
Well, what's interesting too is you know, being an actor, you sort of have to have a continuity in your look. So
that was funny.
Imagine if you were to have a fight, you know, and get a bunch of stitches or cracked above the eye. I mean, obviously with makeup they can do some stuff, but
this is
get a broken nose. This is how much they can do there.
This is also like a really, 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 really funny story. I was supposed to this show was supposed to be like filmed in May last year, which was also the month I was having my UFC debut.
Okay.
So I said, I'm not going to make the show. I'm not going to make the show. I'm going to fight my UFC fight. And they said, listen, if you are not going to attend like the show, you are never going to be on the show again. Then you are out. You're going to be replaced. And I said, and so be it. Because my dream is to be a UFC fighter and not to be on the show. They said, listen, Nick, you're not George Clooney. We might change the appointment for the show for really a name, but we are not going to change it for you. So you're going to be replaced. You are aware of that. And I said, so be it. I really
made your pick.
So I chose the UFC fight. I prepared. 2 weeks later, they called me again. They said, okay, we changed the whole filming. We are going to start 1 month later, but you need to promise one thing. You're going to win that fight, and you're not going to be
banged up.
I was so happy. I looked up to the sky. I looked to, I was praying, like, and I thank to God that He gave me both opportunities. And I remember all the stuff of the filming. They all bought Fight Pass. This internet channel from
I'm on it all the time. I talk about it all the time. I love it.
They all because they all wanted to see in what state I am. Like, because 2 weeks after the fight we started the filming.
Yeah.
And they wanted to know if I'm banged up or not, which I wasn't. And then really, like, 2 weeks after the fight, we did the filming.
That's awesome. No, I mean, it's cool that you stood by your convictions, and it's funny how, you talk about silly stuff like the law of attraction and whatnot, but I mean, you were like, my dream is to take the fight. My dream is to fight in the UFC. I'm doing it. And guess what? The universe kind of bended things your way. And you got both opportunities, and they both worked out well.
Yes, it was an awesome year.
It's an important statement to just, go with your convictions, man. Your gut instinct is going to tell you what you got to do better than anybody on earth.
Yes. Yes, that is.
So when can we expect to get you back in the cage?
Well, there's nothing announced officially yet, but there's going to be an event in Germany on the 20th of June in Berlin, and I am pretty sure that I'm going to be on that card.
That would kind of make sense.
That would kind of make sense as one of the German fighters, and
exactly.
I had the great honor to officially announce this date when I was invited as a guest fighter to the event in Stockholm.
Yep.
So
and that will be your Tiger Muay Thai debut then? Absolutely. You must be excited.
I am.
That's going to be cool. Who will be cornering you?
Well, Roger is going to be cornering me, and there's my coach from Germany, my fitness coach, who is with me, Jakov Maximovic, and of course, maybe James, maybe George. There's 3 guys. Maybe Alex, maybe Woody. We need to make the team,
picks, get the team together. Okay.
Yes.
How much time do you think your training camp will last?
Well, I'm going back to Germany next week, and I'm going to be back at the end of April. So from the end of April
months.
till 1.5 months, almost 8 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Any opponents in mind?
Oh man, I think lightweight is the biggest weight category of the UFC, people-wise. So
yeah, it's a huge. There's a huge lightweight roster for sure.
So I'm still at the beginning, so I take anyone.
Okay. Anybody you'd like to fight, or just throw somebody at me?
Yes.
Man, boy, that's the fighter way.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, Nick, it's been a real pleasure talking with you. How can people follow you on social media?
Follow me under Nick Hein MMA. It's NICKHEIN and then MMA on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook. I have the fan side on Facebook, and follow me on those 3. I'm actually doing all my posts by myself. I really like to be on the social network and communicate with my followers and fans and friends. So please.
All right, man. You guys heard it. Heard it from the horse's mouth. Hit him up. He'll interact with you.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, listen, Nick, I wish you all the best.
Thank
Congratulations on your signing with Tiger Muay Thai. I know you're in great hands there.
Thank you very much.
You seem like you got all your mojo right now. You got your big smile, and it looks like you're ready to rock and roll in June. So we'll look forward to hopefully seeing you fight on that card in Berlin. I can't see how that wouldn't happen unless you get injured.
Yes, thank you very, very much.
Excellent. This was the Trash Talk MMA podcast. I'm your host, Antoine Peltier, with my guest, UFC lightweight contender, Nick Hein. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Facebook. Peace.
I don't want to hear it!
Thanks for listening to the Trash Talk MMA podcast. Be sure to visit trashtalkmma.com.
Behind my face, behind my back, they talk trash.
And don't forget to follow Antoine on Twitter at Trash Talk MMA.
That's what you said.
Let us know you're listening. Use hashtag Trash Talk MMA.
This was like a bitch slap from Destiny in my face. It was like, why? And I mean, of course, it was good for him, and he's a good guy. You know, he deserved the win. But for me, it was like a dream collapse, and also like being like rubbed in my face, like that I didn't go there. So I think that day and that year, the flame for judo just vanished, and I must go back again. In the year 2000, I got one of those VHS of UFC 1.
Yep.
And when I saw this, like, this is probably the story like most of the guys say. When I saw this, I was shocked at the beginning that something like this exists, but at the same time I was thinking, I think I could do that. And you know, this...
So, because in 2000, because you're 30 now, correct?
Yes. I was 16, 15, 16 years.
Yep.
And this seed, you know, was planted in my brain and grew like every day. And I was thinking of that every day more and more. And I started to do boxing a little bit. So 2008 was actually the year where the passion for judo went down and for MMA overtook the judo passion. And I remember after this year, after also the recovery of my leg injury, I directly tried to find an MMA club.
Okay.
I called there. I remember the coach was like, he didn't know who I was, that I had some experience. I said, my name is Nick Hein. I'm fighters and people close to me that told me like, you have to go to Thailand. And usually, you know, when you think of Thailand, you think of Thai boxing, you know, like the MMA part, you know, wasn't that known for me till now. I came here, I had a lot of expectations, and they were fulfilled, and I'm really happy. I'm so glad I came here. I'm so glad with the training partners, with the coaches, with everything, and yeah, it's happening.
So it sounds like this is almost for you a kind of a fresh new start to an already pretty deep career.
It absolutely is. I'm really a little bit excited also for this interview, because you know there's some things that you probably don't know till now, because but I don't want to like go too further in the interview yet, because I came here. I quit my job actually as a policeman, which we probably didn't announce yet that I was a policeman, but it's there's a lot of stuff that was going on. And so we should start at the beginning, probably.
Is the beginning for you? Do you want to talk about how you started in martial arts, or do you want to talk about these? You've been a policeman, you've been an actor, you've got a really fascinating story. Where's the best place to start to tell your story, Nick?
Where's the best place? That's a good question. Well, let's start with the MMA. How I got into MMA. Well, I used to be a judo player in the judo national squad for 10 years. I started judo when I was 6, and then after 10 years I was like part of the national squad. I was how you say that in the Olympic team, but I wasn't like the first guy. I was in the election for the Olympics. Yeah. And then there was also the time I, like after school and university, like I went to the police force. You have to have, like, as an amateur fighter, you have to have like a job, of course, that provides your living. And I was at the federal police, and also like an Olympic. How do you say that?
I know what you mean. What's the exact word? Like you weren't an Olympic qualifier?
Yeah, something like this, exactly. So it all happened around 2004. So for 4 years I was trying to get into the Olympic
it seems like that was a real...
Yeah.
That was an objective.
Alternative is the word. Olympic alternative.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so you're an Olympic alternative. Okay.
So and I was in the federal police, and like in 2008 I was really close, but then I broke my leg during a training session after a training camp in Russia.
In judo?
In judo, yeah. I broke it but I broke it at home, and I remember this year I was in Japan with my wife. My wife is Japanese.
Yep.
And I didn't, because I was so disappointed not being able to compete in the Olympics. I didn't want to see any of the television program. Like, I tried to avoid television in Japan, and the thing is, it was in China, which is like almost the same time zone like Japan, which means like when I woke up from morning to night, there was Olympic Games everywhere. It was on the radio, it was in the city, in every television, everywhere, and everyone was talking about it. So I tried to avoid it as good as I could. And I remember I was on my crutches, all the day, like with my crutches, walking through Tokyo. And as we came home, my wife and I, after a long day of not being at home where the television is, I was totally exhausted all the day on the crutches. I fell on the couch. I switched on the TV, and the first thing, it's really true, the first thing I saw was the guy that went in my weight category from Germany winning the Olympic Games right now. It's really true. I tried to avoid it. I came home, I switched on the TV.
Just to watch the news or something, right?
Just to watch anything, and I see really right now, it was live broadcast. It was Ole Bischof winning the Olympic Games. And for me...
Welcome to Trash Talk MMA.
Smile on my face, behind my back, and talk trash.
The #1 podcast for news and insight that matters in the world of mixed martial arts.
I don't want to hear it.
Brought to you live and unfiltered from all four corners of the globe
That's what you said.
by MMA aficionado Antoine Pelche.
Yo, and welcome to the Trash Talk MMA podcast. I'm your host, Antoine Pelche, and today I have a very special guest on the show, current UFC competitor in the lightweight division, Nick Hein from Germany. Nick, how you doing, buddy?
I am fine. I want to apologize. I came late for our appointment, but finally I'm here, and I am enjoying it already.
No apologies necessary, brother. I know everybody's busy out here, and you've got a lot on your plate. I know you're a very multifaceted individual.
Yes, thank you.
So why don't we start off with the good news? You are officially a Tiger Muay Thai sponsored fighter.
That is absolutely right, sir. I came here like almost 2 months ago. I came here like with a purpose. I wanted to find a new camp because like I had 2 fights in the UFC till now, and I changed camp twice. I wasn't satisfied with the conditions I found there in Germany, so I knew I need to change something, and there were like a lot of